April 6, 1945 Kyushu, Japan. Second Lieutenant Yukio Seiki tightens the chin strap of his flight helmet with hands that do not shake. Around him, the airfield is quiet in a way that feels deliberate, almost ceremonial. Cherry blossoms drift near the runway, their petals catching on the metal skin of Zero fighters lined up like offerings. Seiki is 23 years old. He was married only months ago. In his pocket is a folded letter he has rewritten 3 times, not because he does not know what to say, but because there are too many ways to say goodbye. This flight has no return coordinates. At dawn, an officer had bowed deeply to him, thanking him for his sacrifice. Seiki bowed back, as expected. But when he turned away, witnesses later recalled his face not fierce, not fanatical, but distant. Hours before takeoff, he told a fellow pilot words that would survive the war: Japan's future should not be built on the death of its best men. Then he walked toward his aircraft anyway. Across the world, different uniforms carried the same unspoken truth. On August 1, 1943, thousands of miles away in Benghazi, Libya, American airmen of the 376th Bomb Group gathered before dawn. Their target was Ploiești, Romania, home to oil refineries fueling Nazi Germany. The mission briefing avoided one word, but every man understood it: survival was uncertain. Flying at rooftop level through flak so dense it blackened the sky, many crews privately called it a one-way run. Some pilots quietly handed over personal effects before boarding their B-24 Liberators. Others wrote names inside their jackets, just in case their bodies did not come back intact. Captain J. Zemer Jr., leading one of the formations, looked at his crew and said only, "If we're going in, we're going in together." No speeches. No dramatics. Just the weight of responsibility pressing into the cockpit as engines roared awake. One-way missions were not always official. Often, they were understood. In Germany, by April 1945 teenage pilots of the Luftwaffe's Sonderkommando Elba were instructed to ram Allied bombers in midair, then bail out if possible. If possible was the cruel margin. Many never made it to the exit. Before takeoff, some scribbled names on their hands. Others joked loudly, the kind of laughter that fills space where fear would otherwise live. And in the Pacific the idea of return was sometimes openly denied. Back on Kyushu, Lieutenant Seiki climbs into his cockpit. Mechanics step back. There is no cheering crowd. Just the sound of engines, and the knowledge that American ships are waiting beyond the horizon. The mission is framed as divine duty, but inside the cockpit, it is intensely human. Sweat. Breath. Memory. Seiki thinks of his wife. He thinks of a future he will not see. He thinks of the ocean below, endless and indifferent. Similar thoughts crossed other minds, in other languages. British pilots during the Dambusters raid in May 1943 knew that flying low over Germany at night meant facing near certain death. One pilot, David Maltby, was heard quietly humming before takeoff. When asked why, he replied, "So I don't think too much." His aircraft would be hit by flak after releasing its bomb. He would not survive the return flight. What unites these moments is not ideology, but proximity to the end. Pilots on one-way missions did not speak in grand historical terms. They spoke about weather. About fuel. About whether the engine sounded wrong. Some cracked jokes that landed flat. Some sat alone. Some stared at the horizon longer than necessary. Their final words, when recorded at all, were ordinary, and that is what makes them devastating. As Seiki's Zero lifts from the runway, the ground crew bows. The aircraft grows smaller against the morning sky. In minutes, it will vanish completely, swallowed by clouds and purpose. No narrator announces what comes next. No music swells. Just engines fading into distance and men carrying their final thoughts.